If you're serious about becoming wealthy, truly wealthy, then you have to get serious about something most people overlook. Your inner circle, that's right. Your future is not just built by the books you read or the goals you write down. It's shaped by the people you choose to keep around you every single day. Let me say it plain and simple. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Not the 5 richest, not the 5 smartest, just the 5 closest. If they talk about problems all day, you'll be buried in problems. If they talk about ideas, growth, and success, you'll be pulled in that direction. And the good news, you get to choose. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. It's one of the most powerful and underestimated truths when it comes to building wealth and shaping your future. If you look around and don't like where your life is heading, it might be time to stop looking in the mirror and start looking at your circle. See, we like to think we're independent, that we make our own choices. But the truth is, environment is more powerful than willpower. Spend enough time with people who don't care about growth, and eventually you'll start to feel like growth doesn't matter. Spend enough time around people who constantly complain about their jobs, their money, their lives, and you'll start echoing those same complaints. It's not because you're weak, it's because you're human. Influence is real. The way people speak, think, and behave rubs off. It shapes your standards, and over time, your standards shape your destiny. If the 5 people closest to you are broke, negative, and lazy, there's a good chance you'll end up in the same place, even if you started with big dreams. But if those 5 people are ambitious, positive, and disciplined, guess what? You'll rise to meet that level. Their energy pulls you forward. Their conversations open your mind. Their habits become a mirror for your own. And over time, your life starts to reflect theirs. Wealth isn't just about what's in your bank account, it's about your thinking. And your thinking is constantly being molded by those around you. So if you want to become wealthy, it's not enough to just read books or set goals. You've got to align yourself with people who live in the direction you want to go. People who talk about investments, about building assets, about time freedom, about service, about value creation. People who have vision. People who are working on themselves and their future, not just getting by. Now here's the hard part. Sometimes the people closest to us are the ones holding us back. That doesn't mean they're bad. It just means they're not going where you're going. You can still love them. You can still respect them. But when it comes to the closest seat at your table, the seat of influence, you've got to be selective, because your inner circle is your future preview. If you don't like what you see, it's time to change the cast. You don't have to know millionaires to start. You can start with people who are hungry, people who are disciplined, people who read, who study, who take action, people who talk about ideas, not gossip, people who encourage you when you're down and challenge you when you're slacking. That's real friendship. That's real growth. And that kind of circle is worth more than gold. So look around. Be honest. Who's shaping your standards? Who's influencing your actions? Who's in your ear and in your space the most? Because that's your 5, and your 5 will either fuel your future or sabotage it. If you want to go higher, start with your circle. If you want to become wealthy, spend time with people who already think like wealth builders. Not everyone will understand your journey, and that's okay. You don't need everyone. You need alignment. You're not just choosing friends, you're choosing your future. Pick wisely. Mindset is one of the most powerful forces in your life. It's like the thermostat for your future. It sets the temperature for your expectations, your decisions, your habits, and ultimately, your results. But here's the part most people miss. Mindset is contagious. It spreads like a cold. If you spend time around people with a poor mindset, sooner or later, that same outlook begins to settle into your system. Not because you want it to, but because exposure shapes behavior. You become what you're around. If your conversations are always about struggle, hardship, or how unfair the world is, you'll start to feel that way. If the people in your life are always talking about what can't be done, you'll start to doubt what you can do. That's how powerful influence is. It's not always loud, but it's consistent. It works on you little by little. until one day you wake up and realize your goals have gotten smaller, your energy's lower, and your dreams are on the shelf. That's the danger of the wrong environment. But here's the good news: it works the other way, too. Surround yourself with people who are striving, improving, and learning, and your mindset will begin to reflect that energy. Spend time with people who see opportunity instead of limitation, who believe in personal responsibility, who invest in themselves. You'll start to do the same. Their thinking will challenge yours. Their ideas will elevate your own. Their habits will raise your standards. Mindset is not just how you think, it's how you see. And if you borrow the wrong lens, your future gets blurry. You'll miss chances that were right in front of you. You'll talk yourself out of action because you've heard too much doubt. And you'll stay stuck not because you lack talent, but because your belief has been drained. Wealth begins in the mind. Before you ever make a dollar, you've got to think like someone who knows how to manage, grow, and multiply it. That means taking control of your thoughts, but it also means taking control of your influences. You don't grow a healthy garden in toxic soil. You need the right climate, sunlight, nourishment, and space to grow. And that's what your inner circle provides, a climate. Ask yourself, are your closest friends talking about growth or gossip? Are they pushing you forward or pulling you back? Are they building dreams or making excuses? That's your cue. Because if they don't challenge your thinking, they're keeping you comfortable. And comfort never built a fortune. Now, I'm not saying you cut people off overnight, but I am saying you start investing more time in rooms where the thinking is higher. You might not be able to join a mastermind today, but you can start reading books that stretch your mind. You can watch videos from people who live with purpose and intention. You can listen to audio that uplifts and educates. You can be in the room, even if it's virtual. Influence doesn't require permission. It requires exposure. The people you allow into your mind are either building your future or bankrupting your potential. Choose wisely. Because if mindset is contagious, your results will tell the story. Build a circle where greatness is normal, where discipline is respected, and where dreaming big isn't laughed at. That's how wealth starts, not just in dollars, but in thoughts. And those thoughts become things. Choose your influences like your life depends on it, because it does. Your inner circle is not just a social group. It's the steering wheel of your life. The people you allow closest to you are either directing you toward your potential or away from it. That's why it's so important to take inventory. Every once in a while, you've got to audit your circle. Who are you letting speak into your life? Who are you allowing to shape your habits, influence your attitude, and mold your vision? If you're always around people who complain, make excuses, or laugh at ambition, eventually your fire will start to fade. You'll lower your goals to match their comfort zone. You'll pull back on your dreams to avoid making them feel uncomfortable. And before you know it, you're living below your capacity. Not because you don't have the talent, but because you've been surrounded by the wrong counsel. One of the most valuable things you can do is take a hard look at your relationships. Not just socially, but strategically. Who's in your ear the most? Who do you call for advice? Who do you let influence your beliefs about money, success, or even what's possible? Because the people closest to you are your unofficial board of directors, and they have a vote in your future whether you realize it or not. Some people might be in your life because of history, not alignment. Just because someone's been around a long time doesn't mean they deserve front row access to your future. Loyalty is important, but so is growth. You've got to be willing to say, I love you, but I can't let you lead me. Not everyone has to go, but not everyone can stay close. Now, auditing your circle doesn't mean judging people. It means being honest about where you're going and what kind of voices belong on that path. If someone is constantly negative, discouraging, or unmotivated, you can still care about them. But care from a distance. Influence is proximity-based. You get too close, and you catch their energy, good or bad. Once you've taken inventory, the next step is to elevate your circle. Start building relationships with people who live at a higher frequency. People who value time, talk about ideas, and prioritize growth. Look for those who are going places, who think with clarity, and who act with purpose. These aren't always easy to find, but they're worth the effort. Join groups, attend events, read books, reach out. Where there's hunger, there's a way. You want to be around people who challenge you, not coddle you. People who ask about your goals. People who remind you of your standards. People who aren't afraid to tell you when you're off track. Not to tear you down, but to keep you sharp. Steel sharpens steel, not cotton. It's not about networking. It's about alignment. You're looking for people who help you think better, act better, and live better. Because when your circle elevates, everything in your life starts to shift. Your mindset lifts, your habits change, your decisions improve, and with better decisions come better results. So do the audit. Ask yourself, is this relationship helping me grow, or is it helping me stay stuck? That one question could save you years of delay. Your future is far too important to leave in the hands of people who don't believe in your potential. Surround yourself with the right voices, and you'll start to see the right outcomes. Protect your energy. Guard your influence, and remember, if you want to build a new life, you've got to build a new circle. Wealth without wisdom is like building a house on sand. It might look good for a little while, but the first storm that comes along will expose the foundation. That's why the goal is not just to get rich, it's to become wise, because wisdom builds wealth that lasts. Not just money in the bank, but value in your character, strength in your thinking, and clarity in your choices. You can meet people who made a fortune fast and lost it faster. They had money, but no wisdom. They had income, but no insight. They made it big, but didn't become bigger on the inside. And so it slipped away. That's why you don't just want successful people in your circle. You want wise people. People who don't just talk about what they've earned, but how they earned it. What they learned along the way. What they had to become to build it. Wisdom is knowing the difference between what looks good now and what pays off long term. It's understanding the seasons of life, the cycles of business, and the principles that never go out of style. It's what teaches you to delay gratification, to plan ahead, to treat people right, and to lead with integrity. And those qualities don't just make you wealthy, they make you worthy of wealth. When you start surrounding yourself with wise people, you begin to think differently. You stop chasing shortcuts and start building systems. You stop asking, how fast can I make money? And start asking, how can I create something that lasts? That shift in thinking is the key to financial independence. Because anyone can get lucky once, but wisdom helps you build it again and again. Now, here's something worth remembering. Wisdom isn't always loud. Sometimes it shows up in silence. It listens more than it speaks. It thinks before it reacts. It's calm under pressure and humble in success. Find those people. The ones who aren't always bragging, but always learning. They've been through things, they've failed and figured it out. They've been broke and built back better. That's the kind of circle you want to be in. You want to spend time with people who value growth over flash, who measure success not just by what they have, but by who they've helped. Wisdom sees beyond the surface. It's not just about buying assets, it's about becoming an asset. And when you become valuable to the marketplace rewards you. But that begins with how you think, how you speak, how you serve, and how you handle what you've been given. Wise people ask questions. They don't pretend to know it all. They're students of life, constantly learning, constantly adjusting. And because they stay teachable, they stay ahead. You want that spirit in your circle. It'll sharpen you, it'll humble you, and it'll prepare you for the opportunities that come your way. So don't just build your inner circle based on who's winning. Build it based on who's growing with wisdom. Because wisdom won't just help you earn, it'll teach you how to keep, how to multiply, and how to enjoy what you build. At the end of the day, money can come and go, but wisdom will guide you through every season, up or down, boom or bust. It's the difference between building for the moment and building for a lifetime. Chase wisdom first, and wealth will follow. And when it does, It won't be fragile, it'll be built on truth, on discipline, and on principles that never go out of style.